Hello, is anybody out there? I'm just gonna hang out for a second. I'm gonna wash my hands. If you actually come on, I'm just washing my hands so I can put my gloves on. Okay, let's see, did anybody jump on? Not yet, not yet, that's okay. Oh, I have somebody. So, we'll just wait a couple of seconds here, and I don't know how. This is my first live video, so I'm not quite sure how to figure out who's on here. Oh, Maggie, hi. Thank you for joining me. I miss you. I miss you a lot. I don't see you as much anymore. I'm just gonna wait another minute here and just to make sure before I get started. You're gonna see me leaning over because I've set it up to where you guys can all see. Hi. So my internet is really slow. The digital divide does exist, so it looks like it's working really good for me, but I'm sure that my connection is a little slow. So, and I noticed, I was on a live video last night and I noticed it was kind of delayed, like whenever you would type something and send it to the person, they weren't getting it like kind of immediately, but I think it was my internet connection. So we're dealing with the digital divide here. Oh, hello, thanks for joining me. I know you've made lip balms before. Oh, I got somebody else watching too, but see, it's so delayed, I don't know who's watching. All right, so let's get started, I guess. Good morning, Kim, how are you? I know you guys have made lip balms a lot, but whatever. I gotta make a bunch of lip balms today, so I figured why not show you guys. Hey, Elizabeth, I miss you. Oh, I know, it's kind of sad to see everybody. It's kind of good to see everybody. Oh, there's the nephews. Yay, how fun. I'm so excited. I get to see everybody. But you know what? I was just saying, I was watching a live video last night, and it's kind of a bummer because you can't like talk to people like in the moment. So that's the only kind of bummer about it. Anyway, let's get started. We have 6 people watching. That's way 6 more people than I thought would actually join me. So let's get started. You're gonna see my workstation more than you're gonna see me. So I'm gonna keep an eye on if there's any questions. I'm just gonna kind of walk you through my process. So I have to make about like 125 lip balms. I'm donating them to one of my venues where I teach classes. They're actually doing some really good stuff in the community, and handing out some kits for kids to, you know, like do stuff, Easter egg, you know, coloring books, that kind of, food, of course, but like activities as well. So I wanted to do something, and, you know, lip balms. So normally what I do is I do a really basic lip balm, and it just uses a carrier oil, beeswax, and essential oil. And the reason why I do mine that way is because I buy my sunflower oil in the Hudson Valley, and I do know that there's a more local to me sunflower place. I'm trying to work out the details with them, and there's tons of apiaries around, so you can it's around me. For you guys, you would have to, obviously Maggie, you're not here, and my family isn't here, but you would have to look around near you for apiaries. But to me, the reason why I do my lip balms with such basic ingredients is I can find that stuff pretty local to me, and so that's really important. However, it's not as fun. A lot of people do add colorants and flavors and different things to make it a little bit more fun, but to me it's kind of like that defeats the purpose of not going out and buying like a Burt's Bees or a chapstick or whatever brand. So, but for today's purposes, we are doing peppermint rose lip balm, and I'm gonna it's still pretty basic, and it's still using some pretty good ingredients. So let's get started. All right. I've already lost people. That's funny. Well, that lasted pretty long, didn't it? All right, so we are going to talk about making rose-infused oil. So, Elizabeth, I know, if you're still on here, I know that you have bukus of rose bushes right outside your front door. And we were talking about the rose hips and what we can do with that, but one of the things that you can do with your rose petals, which I'm sure you know, is you can pull them apart after they're kind of not, you don't want them to be dead or dying, you want them to still be kind of alive, but you pull them off and then you pull all the petals off, and you can spread them out and you can dry them. And it's important to make sure that you're pulling them apart, otherwise they can mold and you won't be able to use them. I'm just going to give this a little stir over here. I have our lip balm stuff going already. And then you take a little bit of your favorite carrier oil, which sunflower oil happens to be mine. And you put those, I've already used this. I used this for a class already, but this was pretty full. And then you put your rose petals in there, and then you just let it marinade. You don't add any heat to it. You just let it, put a lid on it, put it in the cabinet for like 1 to 3 weeks, and then you strain it out and you have rose-infused, for me, rose-infused sunflower oil. Otherwise, you would just have, you know, olive oil or, you know, whatever carrier oil you want to use. Then you can use this in your recipe. So my recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of shea butter, which I have right here for you to look at. Again, I'm sorry if the reflection's bad. All I'm seeing is it glaring off of that, and it's just a big white clump. But that's pretty much what it is just a big white clump of shea butter. So you take this, and you can buy this anywhere. Amazon, somebody actually gave me a huge tub of it. They were done with it. But I bought my coconut oil in one of these, this big of a container on Amazon. So I'm sure that's where you can get your shea butter. So 2 tablespoons of shea butter, and 5 tablespoons of our rose-infused carrier oil, sunflower oil for me. We're going to do 3 tablespoons of castor oil. So you can see it's worn off, but I get a lot of my really good oils from Brambleberry or Mountain Rose Herbs. I actually think Brambleberry probably has a little bit better of prices and a better selection than Mountain Rose, but sometimes I go back and forth on those. But again, you can buy this on Amazon. You don't have to go to one of the, I don't even know what they're called. Supplies. Anyway, so you can get everything on Amazon. And you want some beeswax. So this is already grated. I buy mine. This is just one of the blocks that I've bought before. This one is out of Kirkwood, New York. I bought it at, I'm saying a lot. Sorry about that. So you, see, can't stop. I just thought about it and said it again. Okay, so I bought this at the farm market in Binghamton. I do buy a lot of my beeswax through Kudix, which is near UChem in Shenango County. And like I said, for those of you who aren't around, oh, Elizabeth, there's a place in Walton that I'm going to start looking into as well, just to have a closer place for me to get my beeswax and honey and stuff, but there is a place in Walton. So for those of you who don't live in this general area, you would have to kind of source that. I would support your local people as much as you can. So yeah, you can buy this on Amazon, or you can buy this at your local health food store or whatever, but I really like supporting local. This past week was a little tough with having a small business, and so anyway, just support your local people. All right, so you need 2 tablespoons of grated beeswax. You don't have to grate it. I grate mine for my classes just because it makes it melts a lot quicker. And, but for me, whenever I'm making mine, I don't always grate it because I'm lazy. Okay, so that's what we need. And then you need peppermint oil to do the peppermint Rose lip balm. So this I bought off of Amazon because I tend to buy this now brand of stuff off of Amazon for my classes, but I also have stuff from Brambleberry and I can never, Glory Bee and Mountain Rose Herbs are the ones, the three companies that I also buy from that are a little bit nicer. Okay, so let's get started. So you want a container as well. I do lip balm tubes. Sorry, I didn't think about the light with this. Oh, that was kind of funny. You can do lip balm tubes, and you would just use a pipette to pipe it into there. They're very messy and kind of wasteful to me, but I do them because they're a big seller for me. And then you also want to look at your, oh, hi Diane. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy talking. Shocker for you, I'm sure. So anyway, I put a nice little label. I put my ingredients on the back, and in New York State, and I'm sure just in general, what you want to do is you want to list your ingredients from the one that you use the most, the one that is the least in there. It's just like looking at the back of a can whenever you're, buying something in the store, right? So, so in this case, sunflower oil would be the first, and then it would be castor oil, and then shea butter, and beeswax, and then essential oil. So anyway, I put a label on it, I put my little logo label on the front, and it's good to go. Okay, so over here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with the double boiler. I use these glass measuring cups. I try to use as much environmentally friendly, reusable stuff as possible. Sometimes, like, I'm not going to buy glass pipettes and wash them, so I use plastic ones. And whenever I'm doing my beeswax food covers, we use like things that we have to throw away. So sometimes it's just the way it is. If you have suggestions, though, I'm open to that. All right. Oh, hey, Danny. It's so good to see you. Thanks for joining me. I was telling everybody about yours last night and how I was delayed with my internet because we live in the whole digital divide exists where I live. Okay, so you take a pot, put a little water in there. You're going to put all of your ingredients into your glass measuring dish. You're not going to put water in this. If you put water in this, or if water gets in this, it will mold your product. So it's important to remember water goes in here, not in here. So you don't want to fill this up so much that whenever it starts boiling, that it pops up into your glass measuring dish. So you just take, we're going to pretend like, I'm not going to dump this in here because I'm actually going to use this stuff later. But I would, like if you're doing a production, I would measure everything out, into your pots and stuff. You can see back here on the stove, eventually I'm going to have 4 of these going at once because if you missed it and you weren't here, I'm making 125 of these today to donate. So you're going to put all your ingredients into here, and then you're going to put it into here, and you're going to set it on the stove, and you're going to turn it on. I usually like a medium to medium high heat, especially with my classes, just because we're always crunched for time, and I want to make sure we have enough time to go over everything. And I realized that I said 30 minutes today, so we better get going. I better stop talking so much. So I didn't put my little gloves on. So let's do that. You don't have to wear gloves. Sometimes, I'm making these for others, so it's good to wear gloves, but if you're making them for yourself, you don't have to. This has been going, I probably turned this on, and like I said, I don't always grate my beeswax, so that's what I've been waiting for, is for this to melt down the beeswax. But like the shea butter is still it's soft because it's at room temperature, so this isn't going to take that long to melt. And these little guys aren't going to take long to melt either. So I'm going to turn this off because I have 2 little chunks of beeswax left. And people are always like wanting to put their oils in, their essential oils in too soon. So what you want to do, hi Judy, thanks for joining me. I missed you guys out at the library. So what people want to do is put their essential oils in too soon. So if you put it in when it's just coming off of the stove, or if you put it in here and then pour that in, it's going to burn off that oil, the scent from the oil. So, and I tend to do that sometimes, or I don't use enough. It says the recipe calls for 15 drops. I don't actually count. I do teach my students and my participants how to actually do it the right way, and then I tell them my cheat ways. So we're done here. You can use a hot pad, an oven mitt, whatever you want to call it, to get this out if you want, because obviously it's been hanging over and it's going to be hot. So I don't tend to do that. I do have all of my containers. This recipe that I just gave you, which if you want to send me a message and if you want this recipe, I'm happy to send it to you. It's not one that I normally use. It's one I use for a class. So if you are interested in doing this on your own, send me a message and I will be happy to email this recipe over to you. So this makes roughly 8 of these 1 ounce tins, or I think something like, oh, I have it right here. Let me see. Do I have it right here? Yes. So it makes 8 1 ounce tins or 30 of these tubes. Like I said, you're going to use a pipette to pipe in sorry, I was just thinking about, let's talk about these for just half a second here. These are really cute, really hard to fill. Do not put your essential oil in first. It will leak out the bottom. Found that out the hard way whenever I was filling about 30 of these, and it all leaked out the bottom. So you're going to want to take your pipette. You're going to want to pipe in your hot mixture into this. Let it cool for like 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Then you're going to put in your essential oil, and you're going to want to kind of, mix it a little bit, all right? And then you're going to just leave it to solidify. Okay, if you're using these, that's what you need to know. Okay, so back to this. I like these silicone spatulas. They're excellent. I use them constantly for cooking and for all of my class stuff. Okay, I have this set out on a cutting board. I'm going to take this out. It's very hot, so I'm going to actually use my hot pad because it's a little warm. Okay, and then, so if I'm doing a class, let me just do this really quick. If I'm doing a class, I don't know if you guys can see this. You see those rings in there? I usually have them fill them up to this like first ring down there. But because I'm selling these or I'm giving them away, I'm going to try to get these guys all the way up to the top just so people get more bang for their buck, okay? But if you're doing them for yourself, start at the first ring, fill up like, a few containers, and then you can go back and top them off if you want. So let's do this really quickly, and then we'll talk about our essential oils. And I am messy, so I try really hard to, and so I try to have a steady hand here. Sometimes I don't, but because if you're using beeswax from like a local apiary, you're going to notice like some little bits and pieces in your product, but that's just from the honeycomb, the bee. All right, so I am only getting, I'm going to go back and top these off. Okay, so I got 5 because I filled them all the way up to the top. Okay, so now I've had that sitting for just a minute. It's really hot. I don't want to burn off my oil. All right, so now I'm feeling pretty good about it, okay? So now I'm just going to, you can count if you want. I don't. I like a lot of scent. It smells good, makes me happy. So I just kind of do like that. But the recipe says 15 drops, okay? Now, I'm not going to reuse this. I'm going to give it a stir, okay? If you plan on reusing this pipette, I wouldn't reuse it to do a different scent, but if you're going to reuse it for peppermint, then don't stir with this. Maybe you have like a little craft stick you could stir with, and that's pretty much it. And then you just wait for it to solidify. That's it. So easy, right? And this one's more complicated because this isn't my normal recipe. Normally, I have 3 ingredients. I have my sunflower oil, I have my beeswax, and then I add my essential oil in at the end. That's it. No big deal. So you're going to leave it there. I'm going to give it a little sniff. Oh, it smells so good. Now, what you want to do is if you want to add more essential oil, you want to do it while it's still, let me see. See how it's still liquidy? I don't know if you can see that or not. You want to do it before it even starts solidifying at all. And your final product, for those of you who have not purchased or been to one of my classes, this, can you see it? Completely solid. Love it. That's it. So, if you have questions, ask me them now. Send them to me in a message. If you want this recipe, I'm going to make this video just a post on my Facebook page. And if you want the recipe, send me a message. That's it. I hope you guys have a good day. It was a rough week. I miss you guys. I miss you guys so much. It gets boring. I mean, it's just me and the mister. No, I'm just kidding. He's pretty good. All right. That's it. I'll see you guys. Do you have anybody have any questions? I'll stay here for just a second more if anybody has any questions, because I think there's probably a delay between my internet and you guys. So I'll just hang out here, and like I said, I will post this on my Facebook page. Send me a message. I miss you guys so much. All right. I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to call it, kids. See ya. Oh, thank you, Maggie. I miss you so much. You're not on social media as much anymore, and I miss you. All right. Oh, on your eyebrows. Oh, dang. I didn't even think about that. Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. Danny, you are so good. Oh, thanks, brother. I miss you guys, too. I don't know if Mom and Dad joined or not, but they can see it later, I guess. Oh, I love that about the eyebrows. Okay, I'm gonna log out now. All right, see you guys. Oh, I gotta take my gloves off.